and no more fights. No, that has changed to ease my pain, and it don't hurt. No, 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 no. Good evening, everyone. How are you? Hit that like button as you enter in. We people who are darker than blue are we gonna stand around this town and let others say come true. We're just good for nothing. They all want to be together. A boy's grown up shit is chicken. Now we can't harvest that for them. Or is that? I just hope everyone is doing well today. Okay, it is Tuesday, September the 5th of 2023, and we still going strong here on these R. Kelly platforms. We ain't forget about our brother, you know, from another mother. So, I'm just gonna wait for everybody to just try to get on in here. So, I can't do this by myself, y'all. I've been doing a lot of studying while I was on my break, away from these streets. But there's some things that I discovered that I just want to share with you. My channel is spiritual, and I'm not talking about, certain type of other spirits. But we want to just like go over some things, like being that I am in the same age category with Mr. Robert Sylvester Kelly. And I just know that when he was coming up in his time, enjoying his music, some of the people that he was probably listening to that was telling the story as they was going along and things that were being poured into him to become the greatest R&B musician that has lived in our time. In our time, there was other greats that came before him, and oh my God, I got to get my channel together. I just got so much to share with you. I just got to get my channel together, y'all. The thing is that I remember when Robert Sylvester Kelly came for Trey Songz, okay? And Trey Songz was being disrespectful, like trying to go over the master's head. And R. Kelly had to check him. And R. Kelly had to tell him, like, you have to respect the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't come over me until like, it's the same way, like, when he said elephants can't swap flies. Like, flies can't swap elephants, or whatever way that saying goes that he said. And what he was saying was that you have to respect your elders. You have to respect those who paved the way for you. But see, the thing with this generation with music today, they have no soul. They have no soul. And that's what Robert Sylvester Kelly all along has been trying to teach them. Have a soul. You know what I'm saying? Like, he grew up in the church. I'm pretty sure he did, with his mother going through her struggles, being a single mother, trying to raise up a family on her own. And not saying that she was a whore. She loved. And she poured as much as she can. Lord have mercy. Into her children. And one of them received the blessing. And that was Robert Sylvester Kelly. He listened. He watched his life ahead of him. He listened to the sermons. He watched the people up in the church. He watched everything that was going on around his time in his time growing up as a boy in Chicago. And I had to do some really deep revisiting of what was going on in that time. And being that I am an elder and I am somebody who is the same age with Robert Sylvester Kelly, I got him by a couple of days. We both born in the same year, same month. I'm a January baby, and of course, I'm a Capricorn. Those of you who don't know, now you do know. I'm a Capricorn. And we start and finish the year, okay? And Capricorns, we not the most people that will finish first, but we will be last, okay? And I'm going to say that. We don't finish first, but we will be last. It's funny how Jesus is a Capricorn. Capricorns, they deep. So, what I'm going to share with you here tonight, we're going to go over some music of the greats that R. Kelly studied during his tenure and during his time coming up in music, where God has poured into him for the generation to come. His music is a ministry. It is a ministry. Thank you, Frankie. How are you, love? How are you, love, Frankie? I'm so happy you here, sis. Yeah, so music is the universe. Music is a spirit, okay? And during that time when music is generation to generation, music is it influences people all over. That's why certain music I don't listen to now. Now, there's some music that I do listen to, and I listen to music. Music is a spirit. So I know some of you might have came across some of my community wall posts about Curtis Mayfield, and I'm going to introduce him to you. Curtis Mayfield, and I'm saying because of R. Kelly, this is an R. Kelly platform. Curtis Mayfield in the 60s and 70s, he contributed so much to soul music for African American people. He wanted to bring us to learn how to love who we are, not from what's outside of us, but from what's inside of us. What's inside of us? To touch our souls. And Curtis Mayfield was a born Chicagoan. He was born and raised in Chicago in Cabrini Projects. A lot of love up in Chicago. Chicago is a beautiful city. Regardless of the crime, the drugs, and everything that's going on out there in every big city in the world, in the United States, I would say. I don't know every city, but in the United States of America, because we are American, African people in America. Okay. And Curtis Mayfield, when I was doing a lot of research on him and reading up about him, he died at 57 years old, but I remember he gave a concert. He was giving a concert, a performance. He was supposed to perform in Wingate in Brooklyn, my hometown, okay? Remember, R. Kelly had his trial in Brooklyn, New York, at Wingate. Well, not R. Kelly didn't have a trial in Wingate, but Curtis Mayfield was having a concert in Wingate, and some kind of light fixture or something fell on him, and he became paralyzed. And he also was suffering with some health issues like diabetes. And he was amputated. His leg was amputated and everything. He was in a wheelchair. And I'm pretty sure that caused him a great depression. And no, history repeats itself. Look at R. Kelly. He's not in a wheelchair. Thank you, Jesus. But he is also suffering with illness, and so they say. They came and told us that he has diabetes. There was a cast on his leg, and he wasn't being properly treated for his, you know, properly treated while he was incarcerated there at Cook County. But we know that he's been moved over to North Carolina, in a jail in North Carolina. But it's funny, like I'm looking back at Curtis Mayfield's life, and I'm saying, wow, do you think these things are just some coincidence, or is it something that is actually that they want to steal from our music? These people owe their souls to this music industry, to the music industry, how they destroy some of our people who have great talents and gifts. And we're going to read about Curtis Mayfield. He wrote for so many people back in the 70s. I don't know if you remember all his music, but some of his music is still being played today. And some people copy samples of his music. There's a song like Mary J. Blige do that there is a copy of, that is a sample of Mr. Mayfield's music. And so many other artists like Superfly, Freddie's Dead, um, Gladys Knight. He wrote for Gladys Knight and the Pips. He gave that. Gladys Knight did give him, a shout out for what he's done, because if you ever remember the movie um, Claudine, Curtis Mayfield wrote those songs from the movie Claudine. But we're going to get into it, okay? So first I want to start off about this song here, We People Who Are Blacker Than Blue. He's telling us to, like, we know better than each other. Sometimes black people, we don't have time for segregation. We're in a struggle. We're in a struggle. No matter what the color of our people are, we still all in this together. And during that time, we was coming out of segregation, but black people were losing themselves. I mean, it happens. It's always happened. From the time we came and been brought here, we had segregation, among ourselves, but we all was still in the struggle together. So we're gonna get into his music, and we're gonna start from the beginning. We're gonna wait. Let's start from the beginning. Okay, let's start from the beginning, y'all, because I don't want to get y'all in the middle. I don't want to get y'all in the middle. And we have to educate our children, and whew. Okay. And I know I just did a video on this one of myself. I'm celebrating Mr. Mayfield here. He died at the age of 57 years old. 57. That's like where I'm going right now. And Robert Sylvester Kelly as well. We people who are black and blue, are we gonna stand around this time and want to say true? We're just good for nothing. Listen to the words. Excuse me. Or is that really what it said? We are people who are darker than blue. There's no time for segregating. Brown and yellow too. Hi, yellow girl. Can you tell? Just the surface of our deep well, our dark. Okay, if he's saying hi, yellow girl, you just the surface of our dark, deep and well. He's like a poet. This song is more like poetry, like saying no matter how high yellow you get, you still one of us. and I'm going to read something because I found this interesting from one of the comments on this song. I found this very interesting, and I want to share this with you, okay, today. And whoever wrote this, shout out to them. I'm going to say their name just to shout them out as a commenter on this video, on this song. I want to do a shout out to them. Okay, I'm gonna do a shout out to them. Okay. Oh my God, I didn't bring my glasses with me up down here. Okay. The person who wrote it is at Greg Foltz 5480. And I love what he wrote here. Sometimes I like to read the comments, y'all. And it says here, Brother Curtis was a poet and a visionary. This is Curtis' open letter to young Black men to not let those who degenerate us be right. Are we going to hang around in this town and let what others say come true? Come true. And it's also a call against Black on Black violence. But there's the joker on the street. That's a part of his song. Loving brother and killing the other. Loving one brother and killing the other brother. He's talking about the gang violence that was rising. Like brothers that was just hating one brother but loving another brother. But there wasn't no time for segregation. Because we all was struggling. Loving one brother and killing another brother. Okay, the other. By the time come, we are really free. There I be no brother left, you see. There be no brother left, you see. Okay? He even addressed color struck. And we do have that in our people. We are color struck people. Okay? Behavior within our community that has much more prevalent. 50 years ago. Hi, yellow girl, can't you tell you're just the surface of our deep, dark well? If your mind could really see, your color is the same as me. Finally, Brother Curtis was telling us to be real with ourselves. Pardon me, brother, as you stand in your glory. I hope you don't mind if I tell the whole story. In other words, not just what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. Let's go on. Pardon me, brother. You stand in your glory. I know you're mad if I tell the whole story. See, and I'm sure Mr. Robert Sylvester Kelly studied under these greats. He studied them as he was growing in his music, as he was growing as the king of R&B. He was studying the greats. He had to study this man. First of all, this man was born in Chicago, in Cook County Hospital. Curtis Mayfield. He was instrumental as well. And he also wrote just about at that time for most musicians like the Staple Singers. Let's Do It Again. We're gonna go to that song. And this is Curtis Mayfield's work. He wrote for the movie Claudine. He wrote the songs, and of course, Gladys Knight and the Pips sung it, but he also was the person who wrote the song. He wasn't the most finest looking man, but he had the finest voice at that time, and he really knew how to really, you know, connect to your soul. He really connect to your soul. So we're gonna go to the song by the Staple Singers, Let's Do It Again. This was also part of Curtis Mayfield's work. He started out with a group, just like R. Kelly started out with Public Announcement. He started out with a group called Impressions. Look him up. I'm trying to educate you people on some things that is hidden about our history in music and the people who have paved the way. And this man is underrated. He was recognized in the Hall of Fame, but it happened in the year of the same year in 99, and he died that year. That same year he was recognized in the Hall of Fame was the year he died. Think about it, people. Let's Do It Again, Staple Singers.
Getting that from YouTube.
Okay, we're gonna go to this song here. Back then they had soul. I'll be right back with you all. Just give me a second. I have to take a break to the sweet dreams in the summertime. If you don't think all laid on next to mine, sweet love in the midnight. See, See, I had to play that. And I know YouTube gonna hit me with some copyrights. Okay, I don't. Thank you, Frankie. I don't own the rights to this music, but I'm just here to, for entertainment, also for educational purposes, and all that goes along with what I have to put in as my disclaimer. Um, just trying to school you along of the great people who have paved the way for Mr. Robert Sylvester Kelly. Remembering them, don't let they history die. And nothing that Robert Sylvester Kelly worked in his music has been in vain. He was contributing, showing respect for these people who's taught him along the way. The Staple Singers, the Commodores, of course, Curtis Mayfield, and maybe some Jimi Hendrix in there or whatever. But his music has been studied under the greats. And the thing about these people that came before Robert Sylvester Kelly is that they all were nurtured in Christ. If you notice, and I'm going to say this, let me have a seat. I'll tell you this. If you notice, these people were raised in a village. They were raised in a community of love, of brotherly love, and of course, the brotherly love was in Christ's love. Okay, it wasn't in the love that we see today of money and all that other worldly stuff, the flesh. It wasn't a carnal love. It was in our soul. And music was a way for us to express what was going on with us at that time. And Robert Sylvester Kelly watched all of that was around him. It didn't matter whether he went to school, got a great education, but his love was for what he had for his people. If you listen to Robert Sylvester Kelly, I listened to this music in my home when I was growing up, and I'm pretty sure he has too. And my parents used to love to listen to the Staple Singers, Marvin Gaye. Oh, we're going to get into Marvin Gaye. The Temptations, Teddy Pendergrass, Commodores, you name them. Barry White, Diana Ross and the Supremes, Smokey Robinson, and all the Four Tops. The Four Tops. And those were soulful voices coming up as a child when I was growing up. And you can hear the gospel in them. Al Green, Bobby Womack, the Independents. You name these people. Oh my God, there's so many of them who came before Robert Sylvester Kelly that he studied. And he kept going on and on trying to tell a story. Like Curtis Mayfield said, while you stand in your glory, brother, can I tell you the story? Can I tell you the story? Some of us have lost really our way. Even in today's world, in the churches, these people like Jamal Bryant, who else can we say here? This other one that sits on the T.D. Jakes. They're not giving you the story. They sold out. They sold out for the government. To get people coming in, motivating people, whatever. But they're not telling you the true gospel. The true gospel. And people are really falling into that stuff. Because most of the people that go there probably they wasn't raised up in no given no Christian foundation when they were children. They weren't. Because if you were, you wouldn't be up in there. These weren't people that really know the gospel according to Jesus Christ. This is the gospel according to Jesus Christ. Like as generation to come, we tell the story of what we were going through our struggle as the people. T.D. Jakes is not telling the story. He's not telling the true story. He's just there to make money, look like one of us, but he's not one of us because he sold out. He sold out Christ. He sold out for the world. For the world. It's deep, y'all. It's deep. Some of y'all not going to understand what I'm saying here. I grew up in the church. And there's just some things I'm just not going to follow. It's just some things that I'm just not going to follow. Because the church, today's church, is too friendly with the world. On Sunday, I watched my church virtually. And then the pastor, he preached and he talked about us. You got to see it to believe it, you know? And he asked people to put their prayer requests in. Those who was watching virtually to put our prayer requests in. And one of the prayer requests I said was, I'm looking at everybody singing on the choir. I'm looking at the ministry that's on the pulpit. One thing I learned when I was coming up, you wasn't allowed to speak from the pulpit to make announcements. Announcements was made from a podium. And the podium may have been next to the where the pastor preached, but then it was a podium there. And that's where all the announcements were made because the pastor, that place is a sacred place and not everybody's spirit is saved. Everybody ain't saved. So you got to be very careful who you allow to put in your pulpit. And that is something that I was taught from a child. I used to wonder why they always make the announcements over there, but they never made it in the pulpit. But that's something you have to mature in Christ to understand. So when I saw people making announcements at the pulpit, and then I'm watching the liturgical dance ministry, and I'm seeing little small babies dancing with adults in this ministry. And then when I'm seeing, like, they say the children choirs, there's a certain age group, and I grew up in the choir. I'm not the strongest voice. I'm just the background, you know, just to have voice in the background and everything. But I was never the lead singer. But one thing about growing up in the children's choir, it started from the small baby choir. This little light of mine, and we sing from those songs, and yes, Jesus loves me, because you pouring into their life right from the beginning of who Jesus is and love. Jesus loves me, and then you giving them this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, and then you go into the youth choir, and then the youth choir is, I would say, from ages 12 until I would say maybe 15, okay? Then you go into the young adult choir, and the young adult choir starts at 18 to 25. That's the young adult choir. Then from the young adult choir, then you go into the other choir. I forgot the name of that choir. And then there's the senior choir, of course. Then there's the senior choir. Every age has a different experience with the Lord. And Babies, they innocent. So all they got to know is, yes, Jesus loves you. And then this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And then you could go into the other stuff. See, the first thing you got to start off with the children is with milk. Then you can give them something, a little solid or whatever, because they now got to see the world. Because when you're a baby, you don't see nothing. You don't know nothing. You innocent, you pure. You haven't even experienced anything in life yet. So why would you be putting all of that hard stuff on a child? And this is what I was saying to a woman today when I was in the supermarket. And I said to her, I said, it's funny how we want to put our children in these adult things when they're really innocent and they don't really know anything. They got to let children be children again. We are doing too much today. We are allowing children to be in these beauty pageants and all this other stuff. Everybody wants to have a beautiful child out here. Everybody wants to have a baby that looks so beautiful and spoiled and gorgeous, and everybody wants to. I see all the photos posted on Facebook and everything. I be like, what in the world? These babies are innocent and pure, and already you saying, oh, he's so pretty. But the thing is, the most important thing is pouring into them is good character. And putting something in their brain. All that is beauty will fade. But when you pour love and God and everything in them, it will last forever. And a lot of people are having children just to be beautiful. You don't got to know nothing. You ain't got to do nothing. All you got to do is look at your outside of you, and you are beautiful. And God will love you. No, that's not how it is. It's what's in here. You see now that these young girls are now in the streets, selling their body, tats all over their body, all this different cosmetic work done to their bodies and their face features and everything. Once you pour God's love in them, they don't got to go through all that. I don't got not one tat on my body. And I'm 56 years old. The only thing I did in my youth was pierce an extra hole in my ear, and that ear is now closed. These the ones where the earrings at, was pierced by my great aunt. She pierced just about all of our ears when we were babies. And that earlobe is still open. She pierced it with the needle, the thread, the ice, the Vaseline, the straw, the string, all of that stuff we had to go through for that ear hole to stay open. And it was to get sore and everything. My mother used to put alcohol on it and clean it out, and you had to clean it out and do all of this other stuff. At the time, instead of going to the Chinese man or whoever and letting them hit you with that gun and pow, that's what I did it when I was a teenager. But no more. I'll allow that ear that hole to close up. I had an extra earlobe hole right up here. But these are the original ones were done by my great aunt Marie. My mother took me and my sister screamed out. They put ice on it to make it numb and everything. And then they stick that needle through your ear, and then it was a string. Boom. And then you used to have to put Vaseline on it and pull the string through it. Okay, that's how we pierced our ears back then. Today, y'all go and get everything done so quickly. And guess what? They're not living long. Longevity is not looking good for the future if you ain't in life. And one thing you start off with is when you start off from the beginning of Christ being poured into your life. And Aunt Marie was the matriarch of our family, and Aunt Marie is the church that we grew up in on my mother's side. But on my father's side, it was Aunt Iva and things sort of that nature. Okay, we had that foundation given to us. But my mother, she went on, but she didn't make us become Catholic, but she made her children stay in the Black church. For a reason. I'm going through something right now. I can't deal with the Black church right now. But I want my children to get it. I want my children to get that poured into them. And my father made sure that was going to happen. You know, for us to learn how to love, even when it hurts, from your own people. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. But we're gonna get back into our music. I'm sorry, y'all. I've been keeping y'all talking, but I wanted to introduce the grace to you. So now we're gonna go on to Teddy Pendergrass. And the song that I'm listening to about Teddy Pendergrass, and I know Robbie studied Teddy Pendergrass. Women that hurt you, you trying to love them, but they don't know how to they not understanding. We're gonna move on to Teddy Pendergrass, y'all. They not understanding your struggle while you trying to love them. And then at some point you just gotta leave them. Not that you didn't love them, but it's just the point that you have to leave them because of your inner peace. And this song is going to Teddy Pendergrass. Is It Don't Hurt Now. Teddy Pendergrass, It Don't Hurt Now.
Getting that from YouTube.
And at the time, I had to play this song for y'all. You know, sometimes men love, but they have a hard time to express that love. Oh God. Sometimes men love, but men cry in the dark. And that book was written by, I think it was Michael Bazin who wrote that. I wonder how he's doing. But I think it was Men Cry in the Dark. Eric Dickerson or something like that. Like sometimes men can't, they try to express their love for you, but they just being a man, but they still love you. And they can't give you everything if you don't love yourself. You got to learn how to love yourself first. And you can still be in a relationship with a man and still love yourself. And sometimes try to understand what he's going through may be some things that you might be going through sometimes and that you can't understand. And sometimes people just don't understand. But then we're going to play this song. We're only going to play a little bit of it because we know how YouTube is. I'm trying to navigate this stuff for you. It used to be every night cry my heart out over you. It used to be every day I used to be close to you. Couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. Sit at home and weeping. Now all that has changed. Come on to ease my pain. And what I'm saying is that, ladies, you got to learn to sometimes understand that your man, he loves you. You don't have to do all of that insecurity, whatever. You have to, loving yourself sometimes is just giving yourself that inner peace. You don't have to search through his phone. You don't have to try to figure out if he's cheating on you or whatever like that. It's okay to ask him. And if he don't want to confess to you at that time, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You're talking to a 56-year-old woman. Sometimes they're trying to figure out if they love you. And then they're trying to figure out if you love them the same. Even in their flaws, even in their mistakes, even in their, things that they might do. And I don't encourage divorce for anybody because I've been through it and it's not a beautiful feeling. And then we're going to get into that topic some other time. But what he's expressing in this song is deep. That he loved this woman. We used to be blah, 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 blah. But sometimes, it's hard to trust. It's hard to trust. Sometimes you got to go through the fire. The fire. Love does not come easy. Love is a two-way street. Sometimes you got to understand he's going through something right now. You got to pray him through. But let's go on.
Every time I would hear a sad song, I would die in my rearrange you right now with someone much in love. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I just sit home and I eat. But now all that has changed. I found someone to ease my pain. Try to tell you that there's no more sleepless nights, no more heartaches, and no more fights. And it there's no more sleepless nights, no more heartaches, and no more fights. Now all that has changed. I found someone to ease my pain.
No, not now.
Try to tell you about
And it don't hurt now. No, not now. There's no more sleepless nights, no more heartaches, and no more fights. You see, this song right here suits very well for Drea Kelly. It don't hurt now. Sometimes love got to go through a battle. It got to go through a test. It got to go through certain things. And Drea Kelly sold out Robert Sylvester Kelly. Do you think he's ever coming back to that? I don't think so. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. In this battle, he gonna win. Because there's just certain things as a wife, even when you're separated and divorced, there's just certain things you just don't do. And one thing that Drea was creeping up to do when she did that Hollywood Wives, whatever thing, that's something that she should have never done. Because right then and there, she was allowing the devil to creep on into her marriage to Robert Sylvester Kelly. All those women that were married to celebrities, celebrity wives, that did these shows of Hollywood Wives and Hip Hop and Love and all that crazy reality show. You sold your soul. You don't know what you did. You sold out your happiness. Now you're doing all of this extra stuff to stay young, to stay in competition with the younger women. You know, you growing old and you being miserable and beat up. Because let me tell you something. God gonna give you a man, but you know what? You ain't gonna keep him. Because every man is coming with some type of flaw. Something is wrong with every man that we receive from the Lord. So it comes a time when you got to work with his imperfections. But if you got to go through so many men to get that, then something ain't right about you. Something ain't right about you. At some point, you need to stop and look at if it's love, you're going to work with it. If he's an alcoholic, you're going to pray for him. If he's a criminal, career criminal, you're going to pray for him. If God is going to give us something in a man. If he's a workaholic, you're going to pray for him. Sometimes we women get mad, oh, he don't spend enough time. He always working. He's always working. Like, that's one of my problems, okay? But, you know, when they working so much, but at least the bills are getting paid, the lights are staying on, your home got groceries and food in it, and you got, you know, it's like something. Every man, there is no such thing as a perfect woman or a perfect man. And even if she's a woman and maybe she don't cook and you know how to cook it, maybe you want to help her prepare a meal, tell her about a meal that you like to eat, and maybe she can go YouTube it. You know, you go ask somebody how to put the ingredients together to cook that great meal for her husband. If you love him enough, you will do it. There's a lot of meals that I had to learn by other people giving me the ingredients to cook it that my husband would like to eat. And I'd be like, for instance, when I was married to my Nigerian husband, my African husband, right? I never forget, I used to want to know what to cook for him that he will enjoy eating. And I know he enjoyed mostly eating his food from home. So I got to become friends with some of the Nigerian sisters from his country, from his village and everything. And some of them taught me how to prepare his meals, his Nigerian foods, like egusi soup and jollof rice and things like that. And believe it, to this day, I still try to cook it. I do cook it. You know, I do it during seasonal time, like, you know, celebrating him during the holidays and stuff like that, especially during Kwanzaa and stuff like when we celebrate, you know, African heritage and everything else. And I would cook jollof rice and I would do ugusi. And my husband was very iffy about it at first, but then after a while, he started to enjoy it. He says, wow, that's interesting. I was like, yeah. So it's some things that he poured into my life that I still kind of hold on to and learning about myself and everything, because I enjoyed eating those meals with him at the time when we were married. And of course, he introduced me to some of his sisters and friends and stuff like that that would cook these meals. And believe me, I enjoy ugusi. I enjoy my ugusi. And let me tell you, it's very rich. You know, it's a lot of ingredients, and believe me, it's going to take you a long day to cook. It ain't something you just throw on the stove and you cook it real quick like that. It's a lot of ingredients in it. If any Nigerian is in here, tell them, okay, when you're cooking for your man as a Nigerian woman, you know, you got to really throw down in the kitchen. You know, you got to really know all those ingredients to his favorite dishes. And the thing about it is that everybody eats together. It's interesting. You know, everybody eats together, but it's a really, really, oh, I love it. I love egusi. Egusi is so delicious. You know, the only thing that I have a hard time making to go with the egusi is when I have to do the fufu. Okay? The fufu is the hardest part to the egusi. The fufu is like you do the yam or you use oh god, it's like a potato sort of like I forgot what they call it. Yam and oh my god, I forgot the name of it, but you know what I do? I do cream of wheat. I just get the cream of wheat because it's the quickest way for me to do it. But I can't do it with that other stuff. That is too long for me. And I mean, once you start smelling and looking and tasting that egusi, the soup, you be wanting to just like, yo, I ain't got time to cook this other stuff. That's just too long for me. You just go straight to the farina or biscuit or whatever, for your dipping to eat it. But other than other than that, I ain't doing all because it takes a it takes a long time. The goosey takes a long time. The stuffed fish, the meats, the putting the ingredients in, like the peppers and the palm oil, and it's just so much. It's very rich. It's a lot of, oh my god, what is this? Yeah, but it's a lot of work. You got to put in a lot of work to really, 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 really enjoy it. But once you get a taste of it, it's good. West African, and I'm gonna say West African because that's what I was married to at the time. I'm West African. They food is mad good. I'm telling you. I don't. I appreciate it. How can I say it? When I was married to my Nigerian king, I appreciated him. He taught me a lot of things, beautiful things, and that I will treasure for all the days of my life. All the days of my life. Beautiful, beautiful things. Wakanda forever. Okay? Wakanda forever. But, because of cultural differences, is what separated us, what caused us to separate. Other than that, because I knew I was born in this Western American culture, and it was difficult for me to want to leave my homeland where I was born, raised, and groomed in to move to another country and raise a family and follow that part of his life. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. That's why I say, it was hard, because being that I was his first wife, and I had a big responsibility behind my husband, and I couldn't do it. There's a lot of things I just couldn't do, and that's the only reason why we didn't make it in the marriage, because there was some things that I just wasn't willing to give up. If you don't understand what I'm saying, then you need to go watch Good Times. When Thelma meets eBay, a Nigerian guy, and she asks him if he's going to ever marry another wife. And he says to her, I can't give up traditions that I've been born and breeded in for all my life, and I can't promise you that. But even if I do marry another wife, that doesn't mean that you don't have the advantage over all my other wives, because my first wife is always given the advantage over all the other wives. That was difficult for Thelma. So she had to say, as much as she loved eBay, she couldn't follow his life any no further than where it was in America, because that was the life that she was familiar with, and she couldn't give that up to be a wife to a man who was going to be able to marry other wives one day. And that's the same exact thing that happened to me. I couldn't give up what I was so familiar with in my life in America to follow my husband to his life in Nigeria. That was one thing I just could not give up. So I just share this with you tonight because as much as I love my husband now, My first husband will always be my first husband. And he taught me so much connecting myself to Africa, to West Africa. And he introduced me to a lot of things, culture, food, music, and everything. And wisdom. Wisdom. So when I see these Nigerians out here, these especially Nigerian women that sold out their culture, sold out their traditions and everything else like that to be with white men or to be with other it's kind of like, to me, insulting, and it bothers me in a way. Because sometimes I mean, maybe this is new to them, I don't know. But me being an American, African American woman, what they have is beautiful. It's beautiful. I know it's hard for them to say, well, I can't be married to a husband who's going to marry 3 and 4 wives. Sisters, let me tell you something. Of what I have discovered and what I have known and how I lived and I watched the world that I live in and in this American culture that I live in is hypocrisy. Because you know what? You could be married to a man, but also had a baby with baby mama. You could be married to a man, but he also had a child outside of your marriage with another woman. What you think that is? And or maybe several other women, and you marry him. You still gotta share him with baby mama 1, baby mama 2, baby mama 3, maybe 4. You still gotta share him. So in the African culture, what they practice is that instead of you just being an unwed mother with a fatherless child and everything, they marry you and you become a part of the community of the family. You become the village. You become part of the village. But whichever woman that loves him the most, that raise up the children in the right way he or she should go, and really pours love into that child, is the one he's going to love the most. And especially when it's his first wife, like Abraham and Sarah. Abraham, he had more than just Sarah as a wife. Look through the Bible. These men had more than one wife. They said that's the Old Testament, but there's always only going to be one he loves the most. Whether she's first, second, or third, there's always that one you're going to love more than the others, depending on how. Depending on how she is, and especially when it comes to upbringing with the children, because that's where his love is being poured into, the children that she has with him. If she's ratchet and ghetto and loud and disrespectful and da-da-da-da, those children, he gonna love them, but because they from her and the things that, like Drea did to R. Kelly. If R. Kelly was to get out of there and marry a wife, and she really loves R. Kelly, she gonna give him a child. She gonna pour all her love into that child, regardless of what the world wants him and her may go through. But if she loves R. Kelly, she gonna give her child nothing but all. She gonna pour all her love into the children for the man that she loves. Think about it. So I'm just saying, sisters. I'm just saying out here to you women, you sold out to this Western culture in Africa. It's about family. And your children are your children are your wealth. Don't let this American government tell you any different. Because in Africa, India, and in other countries, in the third world, they consider the third world because it's all about family, it's all about values, it's all about morals. In America, it's all about money. And we, okay. It don't hurt now. It don't hurt now. It don't hurt now. You know what? It's going to be a part 2 to this. You know why? Because I got to start dinner. It's getting late. And I don't know how many of you really understand, but my husband has been sick. You know, doctor told him he had to take some time off from work and take care of himself, you know, and I just went back to work. So things is all good, but he's doing a lot better. I'm just giving him, you know, he has to do not too many long hours at work anymore. So he should be home shortly. So I'm just gonna try to start setting up dinner and putting his food, warming his food up and everything. So I don't have time. He should be home in the next 45 minutes. So I'm going to say to you all, it's been a pleasure coming on here tonight. I can't stay long with you because I got to get dinner started and everything. So, for him, anyway, I ate. But, I just want you all to know that I wanted to just share that part with you about Curtis Mayfield, Teddy Pendergrass, staple singers, and all of these greats that came along the way, that paved the way for Robert Sylvester Kelly, and how he was so, I know he admired these people. So if any of you ever going to reach out to him and write to him, ask him about these people. And if hopefully and prayerfully he'll write you back. Okay, he'll write you back and he will tell you, oh my God, you are really, truly a fan. Because some of us say we fans, but we don't even want to listen to R. Kelly. But when we are fan, we want to study some of the people that he might have studied along his walk during his music career. Yes, thank you, Frankie. Yes, he's feeling better, but he just can't do as many long hours. Like, he's been doing too many long hours, and I told him it's not healthy. But I got to get things ready at home. Anyway, with Robert Sylvester Kelly, back to him. If you love Robert Sylvester Kelly and you really a fan, study all the great people that he might have discovered himself during his walk through music and his love for music. And especially with Curtis Mayfield, being that they both came from Chicago, born in Cook County Hospital in Chicago, Curtis Mayfield. Read up about Curtis Mayfield and then you can see R. Kelly coming up behind him. Okay? So with that being said, I love you guys. Thank you all for coming in tonight. I'm not going to stay long because I know YouTube going to cut my video, copyright, because that's how they are. But I just wanted to educate you about this and share this with you tonight. We're going to talk about more. So you all have a great night, and I pray and all to see you all soon, if God's willing. Oh, the phone fell. But anyway, I got to go. Love you. Peace.